Well, it's 10 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock on a Monday morning, the 30th day of March. This month is almost over with. This Wednesday is the first day of April. And a reminder to you people out there that are listening, if you're in our area, I mean, you might be in another city, in another state, listening to us on Facebook or YouTube, but we will have Seder meal Wednesday evening at 6 o'clock. Our resident rabbi, is it too loud? I think it might be too loud. I think we kind of messed around with some stuff yesterday. Let me see if I see what some of our listeners tell us about it, because I'm peeking into the red, which I don't like. Anyway, good morning, Andrea. Good morning, Dana Burns. Both of them on YouTube this morning. You can join us on YouTube, LV Cornerstone Church, or on Facebook, LV Cornerstone, and check out the same thing that I'm looking at the computer as we go along. We are in the 38th chapter of the book of Exodus this morning as we're going through the Bible cover to cover. I had a great service yesterday. Just making it happen, man. God's way. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to be talking about God's way. 43 degrees is our current temperature here in Las Vegas. We really don't have much of a breeze. Less than 1 mile an hour. This is a technical thing, Dana. 0.7 mph out there. 3/4 of a mile per hour coming out of the east. And barometric pressure is 29.94 inches. Tommy is with us here. Let's see. Andrea says it sounds fine. And Dana says it sounds fine. So we are not going to play around with it and mess it up. Now, we have been getting some reports that our sound is cutting off. Every once in a while, it cuts off for a little while. It doesn't seem like if it's a huge deal, but it is a deal. And, we're just trying to figure out if there's something wrong somewhere down the line that needs to get changed or upgraded. But don't blame it on me in the regards of batteries, because I am trying to recharge and change out batteries a little bit more. I'm the type of guy that I put a tank of gas in the car, and when it gets empty, then I put another tank of gas in the car. Same way it is with batteries. I want them to go all the way to the bottom, and then you recharge them again. Okay, sometimes it doesn't work. Good morning, Rosemary. Where have you been? And good morning, Joe Gentry. Okay. Anyway, good morning, people. Good morning. There shouldn't have been anything change on the iPad or your iRig. Okay, well, my microphone is where it always is, and I'm checking, all the settings. Anyway, we'll talk about technical stuff later. Let's get into the 38th chapter. What are we talking about? On Friday's program, we were in the 37th chapter. Hold on, Flo. Hold on, Andrea. Okay, I'm starting to press some buttons here so we can see. There. Okay, before I start getting rebuked by the ladies, and sometimes even you guys throw some eyes at me. But anyway, there's the view that we want you to see as we get into Rudy Martinez. You're going to have to give me some more information, Rudy. Where are you from? Where are you coming from? I don't know if I've seen Rudy Martinez on, but good morning. So, 38th chapter. Friday we were in. I love new listeners. Love new. Now let me clarify something. Okay, for you YouTube, Facebook people, subscribers, people are always trying to get you to subscribe. Hit that button, that one right above me, all of that stuff that you get when you're watching YouTube or Facebook or something like that. Everybody wants clicks. Okay, We're not. This is not a a money-making operation. We're not even trying to. We don't have enough people to begin with to even start thinking of that. Oh, our goal is to keep me in line. That's a big one right there alone. By getting into the Word and by us being able to share His Word. And that's really what I want. Oh, I know who Rudy is now. Ding, 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 ding. Yes, sir. Didn't know your last name was Martinez Hito. So anyway, here we are. You want to share it? Share it. You want to subscribe? Like if you're on YouTube, subscribe. Beautiful. It's okay. Okay, but it's not about bucks. Hopefully it never will be about dollars and cents. If you understand what I'm talking about. Too much of that stuff going on. Too much. People are trying to get. Morning, Jody. How did it go yesterday, Jody? Huh? How did it go? We had a good service yesterday. And you can watch our teaching off of yesterday's sermon on LV Cornerstone Facebook or LV Cornerstone Church YouTube. Same thing that some of you are on right now. Exodus chapter 38. So 37, we were building the furniture, weren't we, Rudy? We were talking about it yesterday. We were talking about lampstands between Rudy and I before service started. We're talking about tables of incense, tables of showbread, and we were talking about the Ark of the Covenant that was being built by Bezalel and Oholiab. If I'm pronouncing those too wrong, excuse me, but that's the best that I can do. Now, so that's what we talked about. We talked about the tabernacle. Now, we're talking about, good morning, Flo. We're talking about the courtyard. Okay, we talked about the tabernacle itself, the building of it. We've been talking about the tabernacle for a long time, and we're going to be talking about tabernacle in a broader sense, okay? A home for God, whether it's a temple, whether it's a tabernacle, whether it's a little tent or a very elegant tent like we are building right now. The matter is that we're building a place for God to live amongst His people. That is the general. That is the overriding. God wants to be with us. So we covered when the people of Israel, in the middle of the week, they brought the offerings. Of their own free will, they brought gold, silver, textiles, wood, and then not only did they bring it, that was like Wednesday, that they brought the materials, and then they brought the skills, and then put the materials and the skills together to work, and you start making the ark, the tables, the lampstand, the curtains, all of that stuff for the tabernacle itself, the coverings, the curtains that we're going to be covering, the whole bit. There was 4 layers, okay, that was going to cover the tabernacle every time that they constructed it, because there was going to be a movable structure. And there was going to be 4 layers. There was going to be the fine, I don't know if it was linen, was the first one. There's going to be skins of porpoises, skins of goat hair, and one other. Okay, so it was insulated. And then covered because of the weather. You're in the middle of the wilderness. We understand that over here in New Mexico. It doesn't take as much to think about the wilderness a little bit, okay? And it was there. So that's what we've been through. Now, today, we're talking about the courtyard, okay? But let's look at this. God has given them the order. And now it's time for obedience. So instead of talking about being consistent in our commitment, we're talking about order and obedience. They were not obedient the first time that Moses came down. These people thought Moses had probably gone up to the top of the mountain and then maybe just jumped off the other side and left him hanging. I don't know what they thought. I could say, okay, well, Moses maybe went up to the top of the mountain. The clouds there, the lightning, the thunder, maybe he got hit by a bolt of lightning, or maybe he just decided he'd go off the other side of the mountain and run away from them. No. He comes down. God says, you better get down there. You better find out. They were not in the order that God had for them. There was disobedience. There was outright rebellion when Moses came down the first time. So take a drink with a little bit of gold mixed in it, because we're going to pulverize the golden calf. You're going to drink it and see how that fits in your tummy. I would imagine everybody had some golden indigestion. It wasn't a good thing. You say, well, that was gold, baby. That had to have been. Yeah, well, I don't think it was made for you to drink to begin with anyway. You have your own golden Metamucil to go along with it, but it was not obedience. And they had enough. God had spoken to them. If Moses had not spoken to them before he went up on the mountain with ordinances that God had given them, they knew what Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, the patriarchs, the elders, there weren't any real Levites there, but they knew enough. They knew enough when they were in Egypt. They knew the distinction, the difference between the gods of Egypt and the God of Israel. So Moses comes down the first time to make my point, and they were out of the order of God. He has to go back up a second time. And when he goes back up a second time, after he had met the tent of meeting, Rudy? The tent of meeting. You know what that one is now? And he goes back up, and he comes back down with another set of tablets, replacing the first ones. And the people are ready to offer out of a free will. Oh, please understand free will. Please understand that God has given each and every one of us one of the most valuable things that you have is the ability to choose. He gave it in the garden. He gives it at church when we start talking, or on the radio station, or when you're witnessing on the corners, or somebody's telling you about Jesus. You all have the ability, the free will to choose where you're going to put your faith. And they chose the second time that they were going to be obedient to the order of God, because they had been in disobedience and they had been out of order. So that's something that we need to understand. Good morning, Yolanda. Good morning, Ernie. So what I'm telling you is that it's very, very important for us to walk in the revelation that God has given us. You can't walk in the revelation God hasn't given. Well, I guess you could. People think religion, dead religion, thinks that they're walking in the order of God. But real religion is walking in the order of God, being obedient to it. He made the altar of burnt offering of acacia wood. 5 cubits was its length, 5 cubits its width. It was square, and its height was 3 cubits. Why 5 by 5 by 3? Why? I think we know the answer. Because that was what God had commanded Moses, and Moses commanded to Aaron, and Aaron commanded to the people, and Bezalel and Oholiab are being very obedient. And notice, this is too much for 2 guys to do. This isn't just a little project. This is just a little weekender over here. This is a very detailed operation, and people have brought their offerings. Now they're going to bring their skills into obedience. Please understand. Please understand. And you have the power to choose. I want to be obedient to God, or I don't want to be obedient to God. Well, we don't say we don't want to be obedient to God. We just find excuses. Why not? But it's all about revelation. What is it that God has revealed to us? What is it that we know personally in our lives, corporately? Because it's also a personal and a corporate endeavor. He made the altar of burnt offering according to the dimensions that had been given to him from above. So it's coming down the level. It starts with God. It goes to Moses. From Moses, it goes to the workers. The materials are there. The skilled workers are there. And we got Oholiab and what was his name? Bezalel, working together and making sure that everything. He made its horns on its four corners. So this thing is 7.5 long feet, 7.5 foot in its length, 7.5 in its width, and it is 4.5 feet high. So for you guys that have tape measures in your brains, not only on your hip, you know exactly what that looks like. 7.5 by 7.5 by 7.5 by 4.5. Oh yeah, I can see that already. Huh? He made its horns on its four corners. Now, I'm not sure what the horns are all about. Okay? I know that there were horns on the altar, and there were times that the high priest that went into the altar and held on to the horns of the altar and cried out to God, but I'm not sure, and I haven't been able to find out much about what the horns were all about. Okay, so maybe somebody out there has something for us that they can add to the mix. We're making a soup here. He made his horns on its four corners. Okay, each corner of this 7.5 by 7.5 has a horn on it, okay? And he overlaid it with bronze. So the material that we're using here is not silver and gold, but it's bronze. It's going to have a lot of fire in it, okay? He made all the utensils for the altar. The pans, the shovels, the basins, the forks, the fire pans, and all its utensils made of bronze. So, what are we looking at here? Everything is made of bronze. This is going to be outside of the tabernacle. So you need to understand that there is a tabernacle. Okay? The walls made out of curtains with posts in the ground. We covered all of that. On the inside, there's going to be the holy place that's going to cover 2/3 of the square feet of the and the 1/3 is the Holy of Holies. Now we have, okay, the beginning of the. Ooh, did I do it again? Play a song? I am sorry. Too much talk. Too much excitement here on the early morning program. I should have started this song a few minutes ago because I like finishing the first song in the morning at the bottom of the hour so that we can get into a weather report. Because people, say, well, let's listen to the weather report. We won't. Anyway. We'll be a little late on the weather report, about 3 minutes late. Good morning, Las Vegas. Good morning to our listeners this morning. Maranatha Promise Keepers Band, all hail the power of Jesus' name.
Majesty, worship His majesty. Unto Jesus be all glory, honor, and praise.
32 minutes after the hour on this Monday morning, the 30th day of March. 42 degrees is our current temperature. That's why we have to have a weather station here at 2207 7th Street, because our other sources say it's 50. Another one says it's 56. But we know it's 42 degrees because we got the goods here at 2207 7th Street. Weather report for today says we're looking for a high of 79 degrees with mostly sunny skies. West wind this morning 5 to 10, increasing 15 to 20 this afternoon with gusts as high as 30. And then tomorrow, partly sunny, high near 75. West wind 10 to 15, increasing 20 to 25 tomorrow afternoon. Tuesday evening, 20% chance of showers. Wednesday, 50% chance of showers. Mostly sunny skies. Get on your knees and pray. Okay. I'm calling for everybody except me, okay, to have a day of fasting. Pick your day before Wednesday comes. That 50% goes up to maybe 120%. And we get a nice soaking rain for about 24 hours. Mostly cloudy on Wednesday, high near 63 degrees. West wind 10 to 20, increasing 20 to 30. On Wednesday afternoon, gusts as high as 45 miles per hour. That's it for weather report. Now it's time to get back into our study. And the way we're going to do that, I did it wrong, is that way. No, come on. That one, that one, that one. There you go. Anyway, eye has not seen, nor ear heard, nor have entered into the heart of man the things which God has prepared for those who love him. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 9, I guess. But God has revealed them to us through his Spirit. All right? Please understand that there's revelation. Revelation came on the top of the mountain. Now, the revelation is allowing us, giving us the grace to obey. And there's order. There's order in the house. He made all the utensils for the altar, the pans, the shovels, the basins, the forks, the fire pan, and all its utensils he made of bronze. He made a grate of bronze network for the altar. You know what this looks like. It's a big old barbecue pit is what it is. And we have a grate, okay, made out of bronze so that you can put the sacrifices on there. There was different types. It wasn't just always a blood sacrifice. It wasn't always an animal. There were thank offerings. There were different type of offerings that were given and around this altar that was 7.5 by 7.5 square, 4.5 foot high, that was outside the tabernacle. This thing wasn't inside the tabernacle. This was outside the tabernacle. And you've probably seen some of the pictures or kind of have an idea of what it looks like. Okay, we'll be getting into it, but the perimeter around the courtyard was 75 feet by 150 feet. And I can give you a pretty good idea of what that looks like. 75 feet by 150 feet is about the building that we're here at 2207 7th Street. Good morning, Kathleen. Good morning, Leroy Doty. He makes the grate of bronze network for the altar. They were going to bring different types of offerings. Okay, sometimes it was going to be an animal. The blood was going to be let. All that. Sometimes it was going to be grain. Sometimes it was going to be oil. Different type of stuff that was going to go along with it. When we get into the book of Leviticus, we're going to see a lot about that. And we're almost there because I believe we have 40 or 41 chapters in the book of Exodus, getting very close to the end. He cast 4 rings for the 4 corners of the bronze grating as holders for the poles. He made the poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with bronze. Bronze, does real good with hot stuff, so we're going to make it out of bronze. The gold, the silver would melt with the amount of fire that's going to be in there. Okay? And it wasn't appropriate in God's order. They go, well, let's make it silver. Let's overlay it with gold. We got a little extra. We're going to have a lot of extra gold and a lot of extra. You already found it. But no, that's not. Somebody says, hey, wait, shh, you over there in the back, stop that thinking. We're going to make it out of bronze because that's what God told Moses. Oh yeah, okay. Back unto order. God's order, back unto obedience. Yeah, but gold is shinier than bronze is. Order and obedience. Order in the court. What's so hard with because let me tell you what, when it comes down, you say, well, it's so hard to serve God. That's because you're trying to do it on your own. You talk about order. You talk about obedience. I've tried that. Yeah, you try it on your own. You try it with your fleshly strength. I'm telling you what, the grace of God is there. God, Spirit lives. That's why He wants a house to live amongst His people, so the grace can be displayed from God through His people to a lost and a dying world. They're going to be going through the wilderness. The Amalekites have already been confronted, and they will be confronted again in the history of Israel. Just like they're confronted in your life, the Amalekites will always try to bring their stuff in. But I'm telling you, is it imagine the glory. Imagine these people, slaves. Everybody knows in all of the wilderness. Everybody knows. They're even going to be talking about it later when the ark is taken by the Philistines. They'll be talking about this is the God that delivered them from Egypt with all His mighty works. But the glory is going to be there. The glory is going to be, once again, they're going to be marching. We're not marching yet, okay? But we're going to be marching through the wilderness on the way to the promised land. And the glory of God is going to be there. And when they set up the tabernacle wherever they go, the neighbors can go up to the top of the hills and kind of look over the top of the hills. Say, wow, look at that. That's something else. It's the glory of God. Why? Perfect order, as Andrea said, perfect plan. How about we get some perfect obedience? You know what we say sometimes, huh? What about God's will? Perfect will or permissive will? Which one do you want? He cast four rings on the four rings. Not springs. He cast 4 rings for the 4 corners, verse 5 of the bronze grating, as holders for the poles. He made the poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with bronze. Then he put the poles into the rings on the sides of the altar with which to bear it. He made the altar hollow with boards. So it's a frame that has been made out of, according to the design, out of wood, overlaid with bronze, horns on the corners, poles on the sides, wooden poles overlaid with bronze so they could carry it. They don't want to be touching these things. They want to be carrying them on the poles, and that is standard from the Ark of the Covenant to most of the things that they have been making. He put the poles into the rings on the sides of the altar with which to bear it. And he made the altar hollow with boards. Woo. Just one of the prominent features, if not the prominent feature, of the courtyard. Verse 8. He made the laver of bronze and its base of bronze from the bronze mirrors of the serving women who assembled at the door of the tabernacle of meeting. Okay. We understand the altar, 7.5 by 7.5 by 4.5. Okay, you got it. Yeah, you got it. Bronze, yes, sir. Keep your silver, keep your gold. Don't worry about it. No, not now. Bronze, yes, sir. Got it. Okay, now we're going to make a basin. Okay, and it's going to be filled with water. Okay, it's going to be a place It's going to be where they're going to wash their hands. It's going to have water in it, okay, and that's going to be where the priests are going to wash their hands before they go into the tabernacle. Okay. Now, somebody do this for us. How much ought, at today's price of what these materials would cost, if you would go out and you would buy the amount of silver, gold, textiles, wood, everything that's going, what would it cost in today's money to make the tabernacle exactly the way that the people of Israel, under the tutelage of Moses, what would it cost today? How do you find that out? Well, you got to know what gold costs. You got to know how much they use. What is it in an ounce? How many ounces in a pound? How many pounds did they use? Blah, blah, blah. Silver, bronze, all this stuff. He made the laver, verse 8, chapter 38. This is more than just, okay, a sink on the way into the tabernacle. He made the laver of bronze and its base of bronze from the bronze mirrors of the serving women who assembled at the door. So the women who are going to be serving at the door of the tabernacle had bronze mirrors. So you had this piece of metal that was made out of bronze, and it was not rubbed, but it was it was shiny. You could see your image in the bronze, pure bronze, brought up to a surface to where they could actually see. I mean, we have mirrors now made out of glass with that metal in the back, and you can see everything. They had theirs made out of bronze. Okay, so the women serving who were assembled at the door of the tabernacle brought as part of the offering their bronze mirrors, and they used those mirrors not to cover the poles, not to make the altar, but they used those mirrors specifically for the bronze basin. Why? Why? Because one of the functions of the bronze basin was that you're going to step up to the bronze basin and you were going to see your reflection there. God's word shows us who we are. God's word reveals who we are to ourselves. Let's see if we can find it real quick. I'm going to run over, and I haven't looked at it for a couple of weeks or so. But doesn't the book of James talk about the word? Okay. But if anyone hears it, watch. I think we found it. Verse 22, chapter 1, the book of James. Joe Gentry says about $1.7 billion. Anybody else want to throw in on that one over there? And how did you calculate that all, Joe? Huh? Verse 22, chapter 1, the book of James. Okay, see, now we have a contradictory assessment there. But I got you guys. I mean, you're thinking. That's good. I'm waiting for George. Be you doer. Where's Jeff today anyway? Somebody go over to Alabama and wake him up. Verse 22 says, be ye doers of the word and not hearers, only deceiving yourself. If anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man observing his natural face in a, hello, anybody watching? Anybody looking at? Watch that. In a mirror. Remember, the bronze basin was made out of mirrors. And what happens with a mirror? It reveals whatever you put into it. He says, if you're a hearer of the word and not a doer, like they were the first time, they heard it, but they didn't do it, They were men observing his natural face in a mirror. He observes himself, goes away, and immediately forgets what kind of man he was. But he who looks into the perfect law of liberty and continues in it, consistently, committed, continues, is not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the word. This one will be blessed in what he does. That is what the bronze basin was all about. Is you walked up to the bronze basin and you looked inside it before you washed your hands, and you saw your reflection. And when you saw your reflection, you said, "Oh, I need God." Or, "Nah, I can do it on my own. I don't need no help." You decide. Choose you today who you will serve. So they made the bronze basin. Let's see if we can get over there real quick. Out of bronze, out of the bronze mirrors of the serving women. Can you allow the bronze basin before you go into the tabernacle to show you your need? The word will show you your need. And once it shows you your need, you walk one way, you take the high road, or you take the low road. Then he made the court on the south side. Now we're talking about the walls. They're not really walls, but the walls around the tabernacle, okay, are made out. First of all, we go through the south side. You always come into the tabernacle from the east side. The front door of the tabernacle is pointing toward the east, the back toward the west. So when if you're going into the courtyard, you're talking about the south side. You're talking about the right side. To your right, they start off with the south side. He made the court on the south side. Of the hangings of the court were of woven linen 100 cubits long. Okay, south side, 150 feet. And there were going to be poles made out of acacia wood that were going to be stuck into sockets with curtains covering in between every pole all along the south side. There were 20 pillars for them with 20 bronze sockets. Okay? This is going to be made to disassemble, travel, and then reassemble again over and over and over again. It wasn't going to just be a few times that they were going to do it. They were going to do it many, many times, and it was going to go into the promised land, and they were going to do it in the promised land. The same way, when they get into the promised land, it's not going to be just in one place until the temple of Solomon is built. It's going to be in different locations. He made the court on the south side. Ooh, any of you Southsiders there? The hangings of the court were of fine woven linen, 100 cubits long, 150 feet, all the way down. Okay? 20 pillars, curtains in between every pillar, and that is going to be the perimeter. That's going to be, the hooks of the pillars and their bands were silver. Okay, the hooks of the pillars and their bands were silver. The hooks, I believe, is where the curtains are going to be attached onto the hooks. There's going to be rings to where the pole's going to cover and bring some stability to the structure. God knows exactly what he's doing. God knows everything, and it's in his order. On the north side, the hangings were of 100 cubits long. Okay, we're not going to have this, crooked. It's going to be 100 on one side, 100 on the other side, 20 pillars, 20 bronze sockets, the hooks of the pillars. So you come in through the courtyard on the east, facing toward the west, 150 feet to the right side, 150 feet long to the left side. The hooks and the pillars of the bands were silver. On the west side, there were hangings of 50 cubits, 75 feet. Okay, the back of it. Okay, so it's going to be 150 by 75 rectangle. Nobody wants to jump in on the valuation on today's money of what this thing cost? Huh? On the west side, there were hangings of 50 cubits, 10 pillars, and 10 sockets. The hooks of the pillars and their bands were silver. Remember, they were making all these curtains out of linen. Some of them, they were weaving the pictures of the seraphim in there. And, all this stuff was, and now we're putting it all together. For the east side, the hangings were 50 cubits. Okay, but we need to have a gate to enter in, and it was going to be a gate of metal. It was going to be were going to be curtains. Okay, and the curtains of the entry were going to be a little bit different than the white curtains of the rest of the perimeter. For the east side of the hangings were 50 cubits. The hangings of one side of the gate were 15 cubits long, with their 3 pillars and their other 3 sockets. The same was for the other side of the court gate. On this side that were hangings of 15 cubits with their 3 pillars and their 3 sockets. All of the hangings of the court all around were of fine woven linen. The sockets for the pillars were bronze. Okay, so you come in through the east. Anybody that came into the courtyard, and the first thing that you saw when you went to the courtyard was the altar that was 7.5 by 7.5 feet. And then in between the altar and the front of the tabernacle was the bronze basin. Okay, and there you could see the door into the tabernacle. Not everybody could go into the tabernacle. All the hangings of the court all around were of fine woven linen. The sockets for the pillars were bronze. The hooks of the pillars and the bands were silver. The overlay of their capitals was silver, and all the pillars of the court had bands of silver. The screen for the gate of the court was woven of blue, purple, and scarlet thread. So this is that entrance of the curtain to go in through on the east side. Okay? Now let's not have a fight between the south siders and the east siders, okay? We're all together. This is all bringing us together as one people, Jew and Gentile, rich and poor, male and female, old and young. The screen for the gate of the court was woven of blue, purple, and scarlet thread and of fine woven linen. The length was 20 cubits. The height along its width was 5 cubits, corresponding to the hangings of the court. So 7.5 feet high, 30 foot in length was that entryway. And there were 4 pillars with their 4 sockets of bronze. Their hooks were silver. Their overlay of the capitals and their bands was silver. All the pegs of the tabernacle and all the courts all around were bronze. Why bronze? Why silver? Why 20 cubits? Why 5 cubits high? Why? Good question. I'm glad you asked that question. Why? Because that's what God required. That's what God wanted. Oh yeah, better play a song. Just barely saw it at the last minute. Yeah, we got to get a song to keep us up to the top of the hour. It's the Praise Band, Rock of Ages.
There is no rock, there is no God like our God. No other name worthy of all our praise. The rock of salvation that cannot be moved. He's proven himself to be faithful and true. There is no rock, there is no God like ours. There is no rock, there is no God
Good morning, Las Vegas. You are listening to KLYN 90.3 FM on this Monday morning, the 30th day of March. 7 o'clock is the time, and 42 degrees is the current temperature. 2-mile-an-hour breeze blowing out of the northwest, I would call it. Yeah, pretty much. Or is it the northeast? Now I got my directions messed up. How can I enter into the tabernacle if I don't know what side is east and what side is west? Because there's only one way to enter in. There wasn't a door on the south. There wasn't a door on the north. There wasn't a door in the west. There was only one way to come in. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. There wasn't a Buddha door. There wasn't an Allah door. There wasn't a pick your door, make your own door, whatever you want to crawl in. No, sirree. There was one way into the presence of God. Now that we're in trouble, let's continue. Verse 21, chapter 38. This is the inventory of the tabernacle. Okay. Looks like we're closing up shop here. Looks like we got all the skilled craftsmen, finishing off what they're doing, weaving and coloring and pounding metals and overlaying wood and This is the inventory of the tabernacle of the testimony, which was counted according to the commandment of Moses for the service of the Levites. Order, order, order. Order in the court. This is the inventory, okay, which was counted by the hand of Ithamar, son of Aaron the priest. Aaron the high priest, his sons were priests underneath him, Levites, they're of the tribe of Levi, and Ithamar was the bookkeeper. He's the the guy at the warehouse. He don't let nothing out of the warehouse and nothing in unless he's written it down first. One of those accountant type of guys, Ithamar, okay? Not everybody can do it, but if you can do it, you can make yourself a pretty good living being the accountant like Ithamar was. Oh, Andrea. Come on, Andrea. She just loves doing that. I think, got him again. That ain't hard to do. This is the inventory of the tabernacle of the testimony, which is counted according to the commandment of Moses for the service of the Levites by the hand of Ithamar, son of Aaron the priest. Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, made all that the Lord Yahweh had commanded Moses. Order from the Yahweh, obedience from man, and now you have the glory of God. That's what's going to bring the glory of God. It's going to bring order from above, obedience by man. Flo. Give me a break, man. All that the Lord. Well, Moses, where'd you come up with this, Moses? How do we know it was God? Just do it. Well, just do it, okay? You go up to the mountain. Yeah, you wouldn't make it halfway. And with him was Oholiab. I can be calling him Oholiab. Of the son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan, an engraver, a designer. Oh, this Oholiab boy, he knew what he was doing, man. He was skilled. An engraver, a designer, a weaver of blue, purple, and scarlet thread, and of fine linen. So your main two construction skilled dudes is Bezalel and Oholiab. And they're going to get all the people who have skills, or bring your 16-year-old son, and we're going to start showing them how to engrave or how to weave, and we're going to this is going to go ongoing. It's going. With him was Oholiab of the tribe of Dan. So this isn't the Levites. Okay, one of them of the tribe of Judah, one of the tribe of Dan, from the north to the south. When they get into the land of Canaan, that's the way they're going to be set up. Dan is going to be the northern tribal allotment, and Judah is going to be the southern. And everything in between was all these other tribes, 10 more. All the gold that was used, here's where you get your numbers from. Okay? So, all the gold that was used in all the work of the holy place, that is the gold of the offering, was 29 talents of silver and 730 shekels according to the shekel of the sanctuary. So you want to find out what the weight of it all is? Well, it's 29 talents and 730 shekels. Does that help anybody? Don't help me very much, but that's why we can go to the Message Bible. It's if we do parallel. Is it parallel? And we can find out that the gold amount used in the construction of the sanctuary weighed out at 1,900 pounds. Okay, so however you want to do it, 1,900 times 16 ounces times, what is gold? Around $4,000 an ounce? Okay. I could figure out in my mind, but I won't, okay? I'll just let somebody, that's just the gold alone, okay? Materials, how the gold was used, okay, was 29 talents. The silver from those who were numbered of the congregation was 100 talents and 1,775 shekels according to the shekel of the sanctuary. A bekah for each man. That is half a shekel. A bekah is half a shekel. You knew that. I know you did. According to the shekel of the sanctuary. For everyone, including in the numbering from 20 years old and above, 603,550 men. So, every man 20 years and above brought a bekah of silver as an offering. Okay? Kind of like the price of redemption is what it was, okay? And that's what totaled the silver, okay? And that silver was going to be used for something in the sanctuary. And it was, here's the total of the men, just the men that were 20 years and older in the congregation was 3,550 men. Just those that were joined. That's not talking about the women. That's not talking about young men or young girls. That's just the men that were there. So you get an exact count of how many were there, and each one brought their bekah. Okay, and we talked about this before. It's been, and from the 100 talents of silver, from the 100 talents, okay, of silver were cast the sockets of the sanctuary. So the sockets that they use for the sanctuary comes from these bekahs that were brought in by the men 20 years old and above. And the bases of the veil, 100 sockets from the 100 talents, 1 talent for each socket. Okay, so I think a talent was, 25 pounds or something like that? Then, from the 1,775 shekels, he made hooks for the pillars, overlaid their capitals, and made bands for them. So it's doing is separating how much of the silver was used for the sockets, how much was used for the hooks and the capitals and the bands that were made. All of that came out of this bekah offering that was taken. Okay. The offering of bronze was 75 talents and 2,400 shekels. So, talent, you could figure it out. You can figure it out. And with it, let's get to the end, and then with a minute or two that we have left, we'll get into some measurements so we might understand a little bit better. Offering of bronze was 75 talents, 2,400 shekels. With it, he made the sockets for the door of the tabernacle of meeting. the bronze altar, the bronze grating for it, and also everything that we've talked about now. What it's doing is giving us a recap of everything that they used to put this whole thing together. You do the math. And for the sockets of the gold all around, the bases for the court, all the pegs for the tabernacles, all the pegs for the court all around. Okay, so we have bronze, we have silver. Now let's go back to the Message Bible, and let's get in with a little bit of time that we have left, which is a couple of minutes. Okay, verse 26 talks about the Becca, okay, or half shekel, okay, 603,550 men. Okay, so multiply that times, let's say they had one child each, a man over 20, one child, one wife. That would be 1,800,000 plus people. So that's where we get our 2 million from. It's probably a lot more than that now. They use 3 1/4 tons of silver. What? 3 1/4 tons of silver. And 64 pounds for each base of silver. The remaining silver, 37 pounds to make connecting hooks on the post and the caps and the band. That was just the gold. The silver. Let's go to the gold. Verse 24. Verse 24 says, the total amount of gold used in the construction of the sanctuary, all of it contributed freely, weighed out at 1,900 pounds. Dude, I wish I had my calculator with me. 1,900 pounds times 16 ounces times $4,000 an ounce. We're talking about millions, at least millions is what we're talking about. Oh yeah, that's how much they have in Fort Knox. You think they have it there? I'm not sure if they have it there or not. They say they have it. Oh yeah, I'm buying silver and I'm getting silver, man. And I bought are you sure that you're getting the silver? Anyway, let's play a song, ladies and gentlemen. See you guys later. Paulina Bernal, Ricardo Mejia, Una Casa en el Cielo. Oh, and what we're doing is we're making a house like a casa en el cielo for God. See you guys tomorrow.
Una casa yo tengo en el cielo, una casa que mi Dios me ha dado, y es mejor que la casa que tengo, porque vive Jesús a mi lado. Yo ya tengo mi pie en el estribo, mi equipaje lo tengo ya listo, el boleto lo tengo comprado, lo pagó con su sangre mi Cristo. Cuando llegue a mi casa en el cielo, yo he de ver con Jesús mis hermanos, los que fueron con sangre lavado, los que fueron de veras cristianos. Esa casa que tengo en el cielo